We took all the best players in world football and put them in their alphabetical teams. 26 letters, 26 teams. Which team would come out on top? So here's the teams alongside their seeding, which is based off the overall number of their starting 11. Feel free to pause this video to figure out which is your favourite one and drop a comment on who you think is going to win. We obviously think it will be D, S or G. That's it! Now for the format. As there's 26 teams, we'll divide it into 2 leagues of 13. A to M in one league and N to Z in another. The top 8 teams from each group qualifies. Each team will play against the opposite position from the other leagues. For example, first from A to M plays 8th from N to Z. Second will play 7th and so on. It will all be one game knockouts with the team who finished higher in their league always having home advantage. So let's get to it. In the A to M group we had the 3 best ranked teams, Malmo, Derry and Kilmarnock. Halfway through and it was real tight. Only 7 points separated 6th and bottom. Etifak, Phil Jagielka and Inter Miami fighting over the wooden spoon. Haaland was facing an early elimination and Brisbane were the highest seeded team currently outside qualification. Grasshopper were a surprising second place team, but even more wild was that FCSB, the 15th best team in the tournament, were top of the league. Haaland only had 2 in 10, Locatelli became the world's best playmaker, and new Saudi Arabia duo Fabinho and Henderson were in 2nd and 3rd on the assist chart. With just 3 games to go, Brisbane was still in danger, but Kilmarnock had also been dragged dangerously close to elimination, and LASK were the new shock second place team. Lask beat Malmo, and Brisbane picked up a huge point against the same team to set up a nervy finish to qualification. One of the top 10 ranked teams in Kilmarnock, Aruka or Brisbane were to be knocked out early doors. And shock in the world of football, Kane and Kilmarnock were out. The 3rd ranked team in the whole tournament were out before it had really begun. The Klopp versus Guardiola debate surely settled now, as Klopp and the overloaded Kilmarnock were out, whilst Guardiola and 10th seed Grasshopper came 2nd. 2nd seed Derry finished 3rd and 4th seed Kangzhou in 6th. Mbappe took the top goal scorer spot and Locatelli came 1st in assists despite not registering a single assist in the second half of the season, shades of Ozil circa 15-16. The NZ side looked considerably weaker, with only R, S and T being 5 stars. Halfway through, and there wasn't any real surprises. Shakhtar were comfortably in 1st, and there were only 4 points separating 2nd from 7th. Oyarzabal was top scorer, and 4 players shared top assister. With teams having 1 or 2 games to go, not much had changed. Shakhtar was still cruising, and the bottom 4 was still crap. Hollywood's Wrexham secured 8th place and qualification into the knockouts, with 13th seed Viborg being the highest ranked team out of the tournament from N to Z. Captaining a team to the finals in the last video and out in the first round of this, Van Dijk has been on one hell of an emotional rollercoaster. The rest of the league made relative sense, with Zlut being the only ones to massively overachieve. The group stage saw us lose some great players. From A to M, we lost E, H, I, J and K, and from N to Z, we lost Q, U, V, X and Y. And here's how the knockout bracket looked. In the round of 16, top seed and managed by Mourinho,
I think I'm a special one.
Malmo were up against the lowest ranked team on their side of the draw, Wrexham, managed by the GOAT, Neil Bloody Warnock.
That's a load of bollocks! You've got to fucking die to get 3 points!
Warnock and the underdogs went 1-0 down to a Modric goal, but equalised via Wilson. Wijnaldum then set up Nico Williams, who put them into a shock lead, and Wrexham only went and did it. Top seeded Malmo out in the round of 16. 16th seeded Wrexham carry on their Hollywood story. 2nd seed and now favourites Derry hosted Gary O'Neill's Odisha. Despite going 1-0 down after an Odegaard volley, they managed to equalise through a De Bruyne volley of his own. The winner came late on through Memphis Depay, and De Zerbi's Derry qualified for the quarter-final. Top team from N to Z, Spalletti's Shakhtar, was hosting Ancelotti's Aruka. Aspas gave the A's a lead, but Son then scored to equalise and again to give Shakhtar the win. The most anticipated round of 16 ties saw 6th seed River hosting 4th seed Kangzhou. It was probably the most boring first half, so we'll move on quickly. Legitimate goal-scoring threat Rodri got the opening goal, and that was enough to see Brendan Rodgers' River progress. Conte and the C's were out, meaning Derry were the only top 4 seeded team left, and we hadn't even got to the quarter-finals yet. Ten Hag Trabzonspor took on Hansi Flick's FCSB, and it was a close game. The T's took the lead through Anderson Talisca, and F's equalised through João Felix. Then Tielemans was fuming that the ball didn't get to him, and decided to pull a just stop oil and protest by the goalpost. The game went to pens, and after Felix scored his, Tielemans needed a score to keep the T's in it, but too busy thinking about those fossil fuels, he missed. Flecken went to celebrate in his face, but realised he too is an advocate for saving the planet, so celebrated with his oil-loving mates instead. FCSB pulling off the shock win to see them through. They'd be playing Wrexham in the quarters. Surprise package of the N to Z League, Nagelsmann's Mules took on late qualifiers Bielsa's Brisbane. Nunes scored, and then scored again. Benzema responded, then Brisbane equalised and the players couldn't hide their excitement. Controversy kicked in as the clock counted way past its allotted time, and Benzema rolled his defender to score a late winner. Nunes was going to chin the referee, but saw it was a female and reined it in. Mules were left to be fuming, but it's not the ref's fault. They bottled a 2-0 lead, really. Brisbane would be up against new favourites Derry in the quarterfinals. Julian Lopetegui's LASK, alongside King playmaker Locatelli, hosted the lowest ranked team left in the tournament, Salute. Lima gave the Els an early lead, and Lewandowski then thunderbasted in a second. An early second half goal from Zaha gave them hope, but it wasn't enough. No heroic story for Zidane's Z's. Zeds? Z's? Z's. The final round of 16 games saw Guardiola's Grasshopper hosting Pochettino's Pohang. Pedro got an early lead, and Pellegrini added a second. Partey added a third as the
party
began, all before half-time. Grimaldo pulled one back with a techie volley and proceeded to celebrate as if he wasn't about to be knocked out, or were they? Yeah, they were. They were 3-0 down, there's no coming back from that one. The round of 16 saw us lose these players, with Mourinho, Ten Hag, O'Neill, Nagelsmann, Ancelotti, Zidane, Conte and Guardiola all out. It also meant that 4 of the 7 players rated 90 or above were out before the quarter-final. On to the quarter-finals. Up first, we had the battle of the underdogs, as 15th seed FCSB hosted everyone's favourite Wrexham. Fernandes, or as Derek Ray would say, Fernand, gave the Fs a 1-0 lead, but Callum Wilson equalised after a neat 1-2 with Wirtz. Fekir made it 2-1 just before half-time. Nico Williams got put through 1-on-1 but fluffed his shot. Ward-Prowse played a lovely through ball to Werner, who instead of passing it to Wilson for a simple tap-in, hit his shot straight at the keeper. Could that be it for plucky Wrexham? An outrageous last-ditch tackle from Webster gave them hope, but it wasn't to be. Wrexham were out, FCSB were into the semi-final. On the other side of the draw, Shakhtar were hosting LASK. Lewandowski was put through early but shat himself and passed it out of play. Schick made him pay and celebrated with a POV shot of him sticking his tongue down your. Real equalised with an absolute twant of a header, celebrating by threatening a poor kid sat in the stadium minding his own business. Lewandowski then should have scored, but Szczesny saved well
for a little keeper tantrum.
At the start of the second half, Lamar showed Werner what he should have done and squared the ball to Lewandowski for an easy tap-in. He finally had his goal. Lever then scored his second after beating Thiago Silva to a cross, and never knew he was such an angry person.
Look at that fire.
Shakhtar struggled to create anything, and just like that, the best team from N to Z were eliminated. Dreams of a DS final were dashed, but a huge win for LASK nevertheless, as they progressed to the semi-final. Brisbane travelled away to the top-seeded team left, Derry. First half, literally nothing exciting happened, and the teams headed in for their half-time oranges, having barely broken a sweat. I'm not joking when I say that this pass is the highlight of the first 82 minutes. That is because on the 83rd minute, something weird happened. A shot. Not only a shot, a flary shot. A really accurate flary shot. Bang bang! 1-0 Derry. Brisbane forgot to pay the ref for more extra time, and they were eliminated. There's a proof on how utterly boring that game was. 2 highlights and 1 was a save. Bore off! Derry making it through to the semis, where they'd meet FCSB. The final quarter-final saw strong favourites River hosting Pohang. Another drab first half, with the first remotely exciting thing that happened being a driven shot in the 39th minute. Suddenly River were through, a worldy pass from Rodri released Rafinha, who played a neat 1-2 with Royce, but that is an unreal save from Pope. 0-0 at half-time, quite the difference for Pohang after their 45-minute blitz in the quarter-final. Ronaldo was struggling to get into the game and, in a bit.
Cheers.
And, twat. Literally nothing interesting happened in the second half. Nothing. Shit game. Not much happened again in extra time, but a chance fell to Partey. And could this be the breakthrough? No. Pure shite. The game looked like it was going to penalties, but hold on. Pedri's in. Nice square ball. Yes! Come on! Pellegrini puts the P's up with a puny percentile to play of this particularly pathetic quarter-final. And that was it. Pohang held on. 6th seed River were out. And the semi-finals were decided. In the quarter-finals, we lost Bielsa, Rodgers, Spalletti, and Warnock.
Fucking hell.
The first semi-final was Derry versus FCSB. It was a nervy start for both teams, but Fekir found Felix, and it was 1-0. De Bruyne played Depay through, but his shot was well saved by Flecken. Who? Derry took a poor free kick, and Depay took his anger out on Firmino.
Oh, what about that? Send him off! Send the dirty get off! Get him off the field! That was diabolical! Get him off the field!
The referee deciding it wasn't worthy of a card.
I can't speak! You ballless gig! You dickhead!
Derry boys then got their equaliser when Dembele found space. He picked out De Bruyne, big game, big player, 1-1. The second half was a slow start until Foden found himself 1-on-1 with his defender. But Pep's got in his head too much and he passed the ball back, the chance was gone. The D's moved the ball around well and the ball found its way to Depay, but a good save from Flecken again denying him. Diaz went close with a deflected effort, and as you can see by the replay, it was only... never mind. Cheers, Frimpong. As the game was approaching the end, Diaz showed some good footwork and made it 2-1. The D's were only 10 minutes from the final. One final attack attack for the Fs, but Felix just flicked it onto nobody, and that is that. The massive underdog story is over. Derry booked their spot in the final. Hernandez is gutted. Fofana and Foyth can barely hold back the tears. On to the other semi-final, Lask versus Pohang. Another wild run to the semis saw Peas being the world's last hope of an underdog winner. The Els got off to a good start, and Laporte forced a good save from Pope. The Els continued to control the game, and a bit of vision from Lima would have seen Locatelli one-on-one with the keeper, but Lima saw his name in the papers and shot from distance. The other way round, and surely we would have seen our first goal. Peas found their way into the game. Politano did well to keep the ball in play, but his cross was poor. Pedri found himself with acres to run into, but the pass from Pellegrini was too heavy, and Lloris was out quick. 0-0 at half-time, 0.1 goals expected. Nervy or just shit? Second half, and Lewandowski had multiple chances to play his teammates through, but no. He's had a nightmare, and the chance was gone. As the game was nearing extra time, Lewandowski battled with Herrera, and the ball fell to Lima, and he smashed the ball home. A huge goal for Lask. Pohang, like the Fs, had 10 minutes to save their campaign. Unfortunately, even with 4 additional extra time minutes, they couldn't find a way. And that was the end of their fairy tale story. The Els sealed their spot in the final, where they'd be facing Derry. Losing Flick and Poch in the semis, we said our final goodbyes to these players. So, after all the hype, all the waiting, we had our final. De Zerbi's Derry versus Lopetegui's Lask. Captain De Bruyne versus Captain Lewandowski. Donnarumma versus Lloris. Diaz versus Laporte. De Ligt versus Llorente. De Jong versus Locatelli. Goal-scoring Depay versus goal-scoring Lima. Dembele versus Lamar. Diaz versus Leao. Both had strong benches. It was 2nd seed versus 7th seed. This was it. Diaz started bright, but Llorente was equal to his intensity.
Have that! Have that!
From the resulting corner, De Bruyne went short, and Derry brought the ball to De Ligt, well saved by Lloris. The D started the better of the teams, the ball found its way to Depay, another great save by Hugo. De Paul with a long-range shot, rebounded to Diaz, and Lloris again. He's keeping this at 0-0. The Els' first attack was very blunt, and De Ligt bullied Leao off the ball. A BS handball gave Derry a free kick right on the edge of the box. KDB range? KDB range indeed. Big game, big player. 1-0, fully deserved. The Els looked stunned and lost the ball straight from kickoff. They were giving away the ball cheaply, and the Ds were suffocating them.
If you know what I mean.
De Paul then went close from range. The Els' first meaningful attack got them into a dangerous area, but there was no way through, and the Ds dealt with it comfortably. Diaz with an S played forward to Diaz with a Z, and De Paul shot narrowly wide. He knows that was a big chance. Lask started to go long, and Lever played target man effectively. Lamar set the ball to Leao, who found some space, passed to Lewandowski, oh, bye-bye Ruben, and a big chance, oh dear.
Cheers.
Naughty finish. 1-1. We had a final on our hands. The Els were buzzing, and a flip reverse in attitudes, they won the ball back straight from kickoff. On the stroke of half-time, the Ds popped it around, and after some lovely football, the ball fell to De Bruyne, but a tame finish. Another save from Lloris, comfortably man of the match in the first half. Half-time, all even. 1-1. Great game so far. The D's easily the better side, but Hugo says no. At the start of the second half, De Paul had a shot from distance, and the rebound fell kindly to him, and he smashed it home to make it 2-1.
Not a great start to the half from LASK.
They responded with a bit of nice link-up between Lever and Llorente, shooting from distance, forcing a good and first save from Donnarumma. Depay dropped in deep and linked up well with De Paul and De Bruyne, with Dembele playing Depay through. A nice turn and set to De Bruyne, 3-1. Big game, big player. The Els had a big task on their hands. They responded well, and a nice ball around the corner to Lima, but a good save from Donnarumma kept it at 3-1. A Derry free kick from out wide caused chaos, and the following corner forced Lloris into another big save. His emotions getting the better of him, and he forgot how to speak, just standing there, gazed in amazement. D's remained on the front foot, and a deflected shot could have gone anywhere, but it fell kindly into Lloris's hands. 10 minutes to go, and the Els really needed a goal. A mistake from Diaz allowed Lamar through on goal. His sweat to Leao ended up saved by Donnarumma. Massive moment. The Celso one for Llorente. Could that be the game changer? Corner comes in, Laporte with the header, big save, big block. Derry escape, another chance. LASK were running out of time and running out of options. The Ligt intercepting a pass to sniff out any danger. A bit of confusion after the referee looked to have given the penalty, but that was actually signalling a free kick to Lask. But that was it. It was all over. Derry are your champions. The best letter in world football is D. Shout out to LASK for their great campaign, lacking that little bit of quality in the final, that they can be proud of what they achieved. Thoroughly deserving of their title, consistently strong throughout, KDB supplying the goods when it mattered most. Big game, big player! Did Derry deserve to win it? Did you have them as your team to win? If not, how did your prediction get on? Comment below what kind of experiment you'd like to see next. Drop us a like and subscribe if you like pineapple on your pizza. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
The end.